Hello, Guardians, and welcome to Destiny Reset, episode 200. This show is about anything and everything related to the Destiny franchise. If you love playing Destiny 2 as much as we do, you're in the right place. This reset, we deliver one of the biggest episodes yet, with Bungie announcing the future of the Destiny franchise. Some of our biggest Destiny dreams come true, and we celebrate our 200th episode with some Derp Fam feels. Hello, Guardians, and welcome. It's AER0KNIGHT, and of course, CyborgSasquatch. What's up, man?
Hello, Guardian.
What is going on?
What's up?
For the 200th time?
Gotta be excited, man. This is a big episode.
I know, I feel like I sound like I'm tired
So
or
pumped.
something. What's up? I'm pumped. 200 episodes. This is exciting.
What's up, AER0KNIGHT here. Be sure to smash that bell.
Smash that like, subscribe, hit that notification button because you never know. Might not pop up in your feed.
Gotta get ready for when you're living that big YouTube life, dude.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
JK, we're just making podcasts here.
We are.
Yeah, man. Welcome to episode 200, brother.
Yeah, dude. This is
Who'd
exciting.
thunk it?
Yeah, very exciting. 200. Crazy. We're a little earlier than our actual 4-year anniversary. But we're
we're a little off.
Yeah.
Over about 4 years, a few episodes. We would take like one off a year.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a couple that we've had to, there's one that's lost, lost to the recesses of time. There's a couple that we just had to not do a couple weeks.
Very few though, man. And 200,
Yeah.
I mean.
200 ain't bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Craziness.
But
Glad to be here with you, buddy.
boy, what an episode
Could we have timed this any better accidentally?
to have.
I mean, it's like
all these things to talk about this week. Maybe some of the biggest Destiny news ever.
that's what I
right?
was just about to say. Like, I think we could say this is the biggest,
Definitely in the top 3.
for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And right in time for our 200th episode.
There you go. Well, just a heads up to our listeners, if you're listening, we got to keep this. We're going to do our absolute best to keep this episode under 2 hours this week, because that's like our soft cap, if you will, to make it Destiny.
Before we start losing your attention.
Yeah, and there is so much to talk about that you're just going to have to work with us if we don't catch everything you might want to hear about this week, because there's so many things to talk about, but we really can't do every topic justice.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to really hit the big,
Yes.
I
think we talked about it before the show. Our plan is to tell you about all this news that hit, and then in the weeks to come, break these things down more and more.
Yeah, we'll kind of start to unpack, especially as we get more details, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got the highlights this week on a lot of this news, but there's a lot of questions about how things are going to work, details about stuff that Bungie is going to kind of unroll for us over the summer. So just like they'll be doing that, we'll be talking about it.
Yeah, and for example, even like breaking down the Shadowkeep trailer. Like, we probably won't get crazy deep into all the little nuggets of Easter eggs in that this episode, but
we're just going to talk about what we're excited about this week, right?
Yep.
And you're going to have to deal with that.
Yes, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. I hope you will enjoy it for the 200th time.
But we're going to also do some fun things this week for episode 200.
The feels.
Just in the spirit of celebrating that landmark occasion.
That reminds me, we got to edit the name of that section just for this episode. The Discourse. The Discourse. Remember what it used to be called? Yeah, we'll talk about it when we get there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I do remember. Okay, we'll come back to that.
Throwbacks all throughout.
One fun thing I was thinking about before the show was, a lot of people don't get behind the scenes on the weird stuff that goes into making a podcast.
The weird
and
stuff?
I thought it would
That's
be.
the word?
Yeah, there's some weird. Look, making a podcast every week sometimes things get weird, man.
They do.
There's a lot of
I
weird
know you so
habits
well,
that we
Cyborg.
make. There's a lot of editing that Arrow has to go in and fix my terrible audio sometimes that you just never you think it's bad. You don't know.
You guys. You don't know.
So I thought it'd be fun to share. Arrow, what's like as part of your weekly process? Like, we have like habits.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just have certain things I do every week when I'm getting ready to record and kind of get ready for the show, get my head in the right place, kind of reviewing the news and just getting ready. You don't just sit down and record a show like this.
Right.
And make it good. So what's something different about how you get ready and what you do when you record every week?
Well, I mean, a lot of the work we do throughout the week, but you're looking for something weird. That's what you said. But I don't know.
The weirder the better.
I'm more like, I kind of have like an OCD, like habitual personality. So, I sit down, I get my notepad and I write the episode number on it. Sometimes I'll write a reference at the top, whether a guest is on or this is the 200th episode or something funny. I grab my Bungie.
You're really fastidious about our notes.
Yes.
Which is great because it helps us stay organized. And man, if we ever want to like recall something, man, I just type into Google Drive because the notes are all there.
They're all there. They're in folders, which you and I both kind of have personalities like that. We're kind of organized guardians. But yeah, man,
we're just nerds.
We're nerds. Yeah. I get my notepad out, I got my Bungie pen. I don't always have something to drink.
Oh, you have a Bungie pen? Wait,
yes.
Back up.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Where did you get a Bungie pen? This is news to me.
That I got at the summit, dude. They gave us a Bungie pen at the summit and I use it to write down our notations every week. Yes. Yeah.
My feelings are hurt right now.
I can let you borrow it. I could send it to you. But yeah, man. I use that to write down our notations. The notations can be pretty funny sometimes. It's all over the place.
Oh
awkward
man,
pauses.
the notations.
Oh, it's so funny. Arrow. Sometimes I'll just put down arrow words, and I know that means like I did not say words properly, like they didn't make any sense, or all kinds of stuff, man. I have the baby monitor right over here, so like, you get everything set up. You get your headset plugged in. It's all like habitual for me. I do boom, 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 boom. Is Cyborg on? Okay, let's do this. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, sometimes my notes will be like, hour 5 and 12 seconds, weird bang sound.
Yep. They're great.
Just
man.
go back.
The show notes, they're probably a good 100 worth of episodes are right here on this notepad in front of me because I started to write on the back of the pages. So it would be pretty funny to go through these and read them.
Oh, I bet.
Very funny, probably. Anyways, what about you, dude?
It
sounds like you got something weird.
The weird, they're not that weird, but I realized recently I always eat cookies before the show. It's like how I get into my happy place. I go make some cookies and drink a big glass of milk, and then I'm like, all right.
That's funny. I do that after the show.
Oh, nice. And then I drink a cup of coffee in my Bungie mug right before the show, so I'm awake.
Very nice.
And then I drink a lot of water, like an excessive amount of water.
I was waiting
used
for
to
you
get
to
complaints because while I'd be talking on the show, you'd hear like I'd be like sipping too much water, and you'd hear it in the audio. I think I've gotten to where you don't hear it anymore.
That's funny. Yeah, I was waiting for you to say that too because I'm not so strict on the beverage drinking. I've had episodes where I come down here and I forget to grab something on my way down, and I just record our 2-hour show without ever taking a drink of anything.
I couldn't do that. My mouth would get so dry.
I did remember my water tonight, but I probably will take like 4 sips of it. But man, you're like always staying hydrated, and you always have your coffee too. I know that. You're like, how many episodes you're like, dude, I'll be right back. I gotta go make a pot of coffee real quick.
Yep.
Like, I get it, man. I totally understand.
It's how I just kind of wake up and get the energy and focus to, I don't know, not sound like I'm totally asleep.
And we do try to fit in, we have it at different periods of time, but we do try to fit in a little play too. And we're excited. What we're going to talk about this episode is we might be able to grind some Destiny together.
Oh my gosh.
While we talk about Destiny down the road here.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But we got to keep this episode moving.
We do. We're already going long.
Yep. So we got a quick announcement here. We're going to do something fun, seeing as there's a huge announcement from Bungie on new content and other things, as well as our 200th episode. So in the spirit of celebration, we're going to give away some swag, and you guys know you love when we give away stuff to you.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we giving away?
Dude. All right. Of course, with everything going on, we are going to give away Shadowkeep Collector's Edition.
Yeah, buddy.
Not just the old base game. We're gonna give away a Collector's Edition.
Yeah.
And
the whole thing.
What else, Cyborg?
And courtesy of our sponsor, Blue Microphones, we're going to give away not one, but 2 brand new Blue microphones. And you'll have your choice. You could go with the standard and timeless Blue Yeti, or you can go with something a little more compact. The Nano, that's what it's called, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep. Cool little mic that we've played with. I love that thing. So yeah, those are awesome.
Yes.
And valuable. It
Fantastic.
costs money, and we're gonna give those away. So, but keep in mind, it's not like one package of everybody. One person gets everything. There'll be 3 winners, 1 for each of these items.
Yes.
So what you're going to want to do is head to Twitter, which our Twitter is @DestinyReset, and look for a link. We're going to use the old service we usually use, Gleam, where you just, kind of sign in, give your email, and I think your date of birth or something like that to verify. And then you'll complete a couple actions like retweet a tweet, and we'll throw a bunch of stuff in there.
Easy for us to track you guys.
Yeah. This makes it really easy to run these giveaways and to pick the winner and all that stuff. So go ahead to Twitter right now when you're listening and enter to win.
It should be live. Look for a 200th episode giveaway tweet.
Yeah.
You'll see it.
All right, man.
There you go. Yeah, dude.
Very exciting.
We got to keep moving. We got tons of news, and we've got tons of feels, and their fan feels, and some throwbacks here and there. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. But first, a little walk down memory lane.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, our show has evolved, and we've kind of changed segments and got rid of some things, added some things, changed the name of stuff, changed the order of how we do things. Kind of the way we've been doing things now. We've probably done for at least 100 episodes this way now, right?
Probably. Yeah, you have to be a pretty long time listener to probably catch some of these, but new listeners will appreciate it too.
Yeah, but do you remember a little thing called the geography lesson of the week?
Boy, do I. It had a couple different phases.
Yeah, at first, the reason we created this was because we were going and looking at our host, and when we first started the show, we were starting to see people in different places all over the world were downloading the podcast, and we just thought that was amazing.
It was cool.
Because
it was cool.
We were seeing different states and people in Europe and Hong Kong and Australia, and we're like, holy cow, all these people are listening to the show. And then
Japan? Maybe just remember, and then when we saw a couple dots pop up in Washington around the Bellevue area, we're like, wait a second.
Could it be
the team?
So I would, every week I would shout out different areas, different parts of the world that we noticed we were getting listeners. And then it turned into, hey, if you're listening, send us a tweet or an email and let us know where you are and something cool about that place. And then I think, what else did we ask? It was what
your main,
what was your favorite class, right?
Yep.
And so that went on for dozens and dozens of episodes.
Good while. Yeah.
Until I think it just got to a point where we just wanted to retire it, like we had seen all over the world, right?
I think, yeah, it was like the classic retire it. The show ends while it's on top.
Yeah. But I just want to remember that because a lot of old listeners loved that so much.
Oh, dude, it was great, man. They really did. It was really good.
In honor of that, give a shout out to the Guardians that we know are all over the world, from, you know, down south in USA to the eastern and western seaboards to Canada, South America, Australia, Brazil, the United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Hong Kong. I mean, what am I missing? Korea.
Dude,
there's so many places.
And it's cool to see like where we have reviews as well in a lot of these places on the iTunes store. Just really neat.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we just want you to know, we see you. We know that you're there. We know that you're listening. Even if, you know, not everybody listens to a show, ever even really interacts with us. You know, it's really just a small section of people that end up connecting with us or joining the community or sending us an email and stuff. But we want you to know, like, we know you're out there, and we think it's so cool that you're listening to a couple guys, just a couple down home boys talking about Destiny.
It started 4 years ago, and we love it when people tell us that it just sounds like they're listening to a couple friends in party chat, because that is exactly what we hope this show is. That's
the show.
Yep.
That's the show.
Yep.
So thanks.
Yeah, thank you
all over
so
the
much.
world. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
It means a lot.
Yep. All right, man. Now we get into arguably the biggest part of the show this week, right?
Oh, boy. Yes.
We got a whole bunch of news.
Start us off how you usually do each reset, Cyborg.
Should we start with the old This Week at Bungo?
What did it used to be called? Feels appropriate to it was...
Oh, the weekly Bungie Weekly Update?
Yes, the Bungie Weekly Update.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Talk about all the old school things.
And then they changed it.
They did.
To This Week at Bungie.
We got a juicy one this week, though.
Yeah, man. Oh my gosh. It's like, it doesn't even scratch the surface of all the things they have to talk about this week. All right. So this week at Bungie, we revealed the next chapter of Destiny 2. The next chapter of Destiny 2, which is fascinating, going to be called Shadowkeep. And we're going back to the moon, Arrow.
Back to the moon.
Moon's haunted.
I know that got some mixed feelings. They seem to...
Really?
Yeah, it did, you know. I'm sure you caught on.
Yeah.
But they tell us that it'll look different. A lot has happened. I will say that scarlet looking massive wall and gate does look very appealing.
Very Mordor-esque.
Yes, it is.
Inspiration, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. It is.
That's the vibe that
But
I got.
hey,
like,
you
it
know,
seems very
you can tap into that. That's fine.
Very the what was it called? The Black Gate
Mm-hmm.
in Lord of the Rings. That's what it seems like to me. I think that's what they're going for.
I gotta say, I wasn't expecting to be going back to the moon. But, you know.
No, I didn't think so either. I mean, it's funny because I've had friends recently who were like, man, you remember the moon? Like, I wish I could go back to the moon. I miss the moon.
Wasn't it in the...
The moon was so cool.
Was it in the beta, the alpha, or the beta? Didn't they open... Did they open the moon up? It was like one day the moon was open. Destiny 1?
And you could like drive around and look at all the different areas and check it out. It was really cool.
Yeah. Way back.
Just for a day. Yeah. So they said today's been fun. The week started with a chalice and led to a reveal. Earlier today, they hosted a stream to unveil the next chapter for Destiny 2. So that we've got our Bungie Vidoc, and we're gonna get to that. But that's hosted in the TWAB. If you haven't watched it, it's a heck of a Vidoc. You're definitely gonna want to go and and watch this. They cover a ton of different stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking it was really short when it like faded to black the first time, and then I realized that was just like the first of many little segments inside it.
yeah. It was like it was almost like 3 Vidocs in one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because they were talking about so many different things.
Right.
It makes sense now why we didn't get a Vidoc for Seas of Opulence, because they were busy making this one.
Yes. Yep. And the Vidoc's kind of an example too of what we were talking about, the things they discuss in there. We'll hit on some this episode, but we'll break down more and more as the weeks come here. The episodes come.
So we're going to go through the TWAB here, and then we're going to go back to some of these other like pages and details and articles. So let me keep working through this stuff, right?
Do it.
They talk about Shadowkeep. They've got a page up for Shadowkeep on the Bungie website where you can see a lot of information on it. Additional news they delivered as part of the announcement. You know, we've got Destiny New Light. We've got Stadia. We've got Destiny 2 coming to Steam. Didn't see that one coming.
No. And it was funny too because they said, I think they said Epic and Steam in the same sentence.
Oh, he did. He totally trolled. Luke Smith said we had to find an Epic partner, and then he said, Steam. And I was like, oh, and then he said, and we're coming to Steam, and I'm like, oh, you got us.
Quite funny.
That was funny. So all those things were announced, and then as well. Of course, some of the biggest news being cross save, which is super exciting.
Dude, yes, that could have been all they announced this week, and we would have thought it was like we would have all
blown
been
the lid off everything if they just said, "Hey, cross save, drop the mic, walk off," right?
Yep.
So all of that big news, if you missed it, come out from under the rock you're under, and go to Bungie.net and read all about it and watch the Vidoc. Next up, the Seas of Opulence kicked off with the new raid, Crown of Sorrow. Mm-hmm. Contest mode was active for the first 24 hours, and Clan Be Bold was declared the official winner of the Crown of Sorrow raid race.
Congratulations.
They had Carolina Gamer 99, who is a content creator, if you're not familiar, have a few words about their win. And he said, "World's First, a title that means more than most people can imagine to me. I've played Destiny since launch, and I've had the privilege of meeting and making friends for life. Some of these friends are my clanmates, the guys that I've been through a lot with. We've all been in top 10 raid race finishes before. We finally did it with Crown of Sorrow. I'd like to say thank you to my amazing teammates who put up with the sound of me munching on various snacks for the entirety of raid day." That sounds familiar. To the amazing teams at Bungie for creating an incredible experience for everyone who plays, and to the awesome community for cheering us on and believing in us. We got the belt. Woo!
Yeah, that's awesome.
Shout out to Dado, who came in a very, very close second. The community was really rooting for him to hopefully get his first World's First, and they put up a darn good fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him that.
What it was there, right, is it was the closest first and second ever, right? Because they were in the instance at the same time, and they actually did end up getting the exotic as well. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was so close that, now if you're World's First, Bungie has set up this thing where if you're the first to complete it, everybody in the fire team, when they open the final chest, will get the raid exotic. And it was so close that even the game, I think what happens is they have it set up in the game, and then when World's First happens, I'm almost wondering if they just have to like turn it off.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was so close that they even got the exotic out of it. So
craziness.
Put up a very good fight, man.
Mm-hmm. Exciting.
Yep. Moving on, they've got a bunch of info for all the things they have planned at Guardian Con, which is really exciting. If you're planning on going, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Cyborg will be there this year.
as long as everything goes as planned.
Yes.
I should be there.
You got some important life things going on right now, but
yes. I think I've talked about it before on the show, but I'm buying a house right now. And a month ago I was trying to buy a house. We now have a house that we've got a purchase agreement on, and we're going through the process of going through all that rigmarole and trying to get a closing date set. And that's the big what if. So as long as I get the appropriate closing date, I'll be at GuardianCon.
Yes.
So I've got my plane ticket. I'll tell you that much. And I've got a place to stay. So.
And so we don't forget, Gathalion did just tweet out this afternoon that they will confirm the dates for 2020 GuardianCon. And he said it's not on 4th of July weekend or E3 week. So
thank goodness.
Hopefully both of us will be
I know
there
that's
in
the
2020.
big thing. For a lot of people is like it being on a holiday, it makes it tough.
Yes.
Which I totally get. Anyways, so a lot of news. It seems like Bungie is really going all out for GuardianCon this year. And you have to wonder, now that they have the freedom to make their own decisions, if that could have been different
definitely
beforehand.
Yeah.
But hey, we're getting a lot of cool stuff this year. So
really personalizing these things.
Yeah, they mentioned they're going to be live on stage with the showrunners. They'll be on the convention floor with a Bungie booth, and they have a preview. So there's going to be some exclusive loot. They're going to have 72 PlayStations, not playing stations, probably PlayStations, but
probably
places you.
Who
can
knows
play.
These days, though? Who knows?
Yeah. And which is 3 times as many as they had last year, because man, the lines were super long last year to play Gambit. Now they're not going to have the new content this year. What they're going to be doing are some private Crucible matches. They mentioned you'll be invited to equip new weapons and suit up in a full suit of menagerie or raid gear as a hunter, titan, or warlock. And then they show off some cool little items. There is a drifter coin and cool. A Vanguard, looks like a pin. I think they call it a medallion. So what you'll do is anybody who plays, which they'll call it a reward match, you'll receive a drifter coin that can be only earned at the show. You'll be able to play as often as you like, lines permitted, and collect as many coins as you can carry. You can keep them, or you can take a chance at a better reward by spending your coin to commit to a risk match against another fire team. If you win that match, you'll win a Guardian pin that's exclusive to the show. So you know what I'm going to be doing.
Yep, I know what you're doing. I thought about you.
I'm obsessed with collecting pins. Yeah,
this is cool though, man. This is really neat, especially
it's a really fun
exclusive to the show itself. So
yeah, it's a really fun way to like add some fun and some stakes to what they're going to be doing.
We don't like exclusives in Destiny, but it's okay when it's at events.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Then they will also have a world's first award ceremony. So they mentioned ever since Atheon made the first grand entrance in the Vaulted Glass, many fire teams have been entered into legend as the first Guardians to complete a Destiny raid. At GuardianCon, they'll take the stage with us to be celebrated as a champion. And as part of that, they're going to have the Big Show, who is a famous professional wrestler, if you're not familiar, who is really into Destiny.
Yeah, we've known him for a while too. I mean, he's been playing for a good while. Yeah.
So pretty cool there. And it looks like they're gonna be doing an award ceremony for like every raid, is what I'm gathering.
Yeah, dude.
So,
yeah, because they say in there, don't worry if you're a winner of a world's first back in the day and you can't make it to the show, they'll get it to you a different way.
Yep.
Next
up, they're going to have an audience with Eris Morn. The voice of Eris Morn, Morla Gorandana, will be present, and she will be with the Bungie away team. You'll be able to meet players, sign memorabilia, and silence the screams of any hive outbreaks that make her. which is awesome. How cool is that?
Very cool. Yeah.
And then
Just
man,
continues.
it just goes on. They're going to have prop maker AER0KNIGHT. His outfit is called Aurum. You may be familiar with his work. He's done a ton of prop making of Destiny weapons and exotics over the years, and he's going to have a whole bunch of his work there for you to check out, and also be working on fabricating a new Destiny weapon you've never seen. That's really exciting.
That's
to me.
exciting. Yes, this stuff's cool though. I mean, at some point, I'm sure a lot of you listeners have seen this in some of his stuff in an image or something somewhere. The Whisper of the Worm, dude, is just, I don't know, man.
Oh yeah,
Stuff
very
looks so
cool.
good. Yeah, very cool.
And then additionally, they're going to have a Bungie ride along featuring Whisper of the Worm and 0 Hour missions on stage live, and a couple of the creators of those activities will be sharing commentary while they move through those missions. And then finally, they're going to have a bunch of people who work at Bungie that you'll be able to meet at signing tables, and also be running the risk reward matches. And then they also mentioned they're going to have some, it seems like some content creators. They say leaders of this community who need space to meet the people who have joined their content over the years will be at some of their signing tables as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some guesses who you could expect to see there. But
Yeah.
some of the guys who are there for a perpetual line like Datto every year will probably be hanging out there, I imagine.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they've got a ton of stuff planned. I mean, compared to what they've had in the past, the only thing I don't see mentioned here that I'm curious about is if they're going to be having some merch for sale.
Yeah, merch. And then I wonder too, they talk about like specifically that they'll play, what they were going to play. I'm surprised, that there's not going to be any like showing off of something, new.
Yeah, something from Shadowkeep and stuff.
Yeah, but there's so
my
much going
guess
on
is,
here.
That's September. That's 3 months away.
Yeah.
They just may not have like a build ready for that, right?
Was it last? We talked about that last Guardian Con. Did they have Gambit? They were going on the Gambit push, right?
Yeah, they had Gambit.
Yeah.
And I've read and heard them talk about this before, though, like to have a build of a new activity, like it has to be done and ready like months in advance.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then like splintered out from the ongoing build of the activity. So it takes a lot of work and effort.
And it's just
for
like
them
a
to
vertical
do that.
slice, its own thing.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
So it probably just wasn't
if it's a mission or something.
planned. It just takes a lot of resources, I think.
Plus, man, they've upped their game each year the last few years. So, this is a lot of stuff they've really personalized. Like, to me, the feel of them being there, Destiny's presence, the community's section for Destiny. It seems like there's going to be a whole area like for Destiny. You know what I mean? And that makes complete sense, obviously. So
they also, it's not in the TWA, but they also announced as part of the Guardian Con charity block, they're going to be doing a 4-hour Bungie bounty as part of the week leading up to Guardian Con. So we got that to look forward to, which is pretty cool. Next up, we've got Destiny player support with a bunch of known issues. Go check this out. There's a bunch of different things, but we got to keep things moving in the case of time. Let's see. Going through, we've got movies of the week. We've got some cool stuff that you should go check out. A bunch of world's first stuff that's really cool and fun. And then finally, they talk about they are going to have some Bungie rewards coming this season that will be revealed, of course, that you can earn. They updated the header image with the image of the actual boss for the raid. That was part of a lore posting that they had previously put up, right?
Yep. I think that was after we recorded last week. They threw up those couple of lore entries leading up to the new season. Yeah.
Those were really cool. If you missed those, I think they just had two lore entries kind of to set up the new season and the Season of Opulence. We've got a 4K wallpaper for Destiny 2 Shadowkeep that's definitely worth
It's already
seeing.
set as my desktop background.
So that's this week at Bungie. Now we're going to cruise through kind of some of the more specific things that we saw and were announced this week.
Where do we start?
Shadowkeep? We've got Shadowkeep, of course. So Eris has returned, and I'm so excited to see Eris come back, man.
Dude, and it's like, sounds like it is all Eris, right?
Yeah.
Nightmares.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
They did mention in the reveal stream there are going to be maybe a couple new characters that we'll be able to see. And then they're alluding to, you know, what was the phrase they used? Darkness. The darkness is closer than we think, or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's what they said.
Kind of scary, man. So we're returning to the moon, and something has been unleashed that once slumbered beneath the lunar surface, a long dormant power even Eris cannot control. And they talk about in the Vidoc how Eris is somehow responsible for what's happening here, and she needs our help to figure it out, to slay these nightmares. What did you think about these old kind of raid bosses and these figures that we've defeated, like, coming back?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like the moon. It's a seems to be a recurring conversation, you know, when we see things making a return versus, you know, like brand new I guess material. I think it's neat, man.
Yeah.
I don't really ever have a problem with it. I think, I mean, obviously we know the lore and the story is going to be there at some point. And again, I think this might be part of the transition into year 3 and then the continuous growth of this franchise. Maybe we'll see continued into year 4, maybe something brand new. But I think it's neat, man. I think it could be cool if done right. And we know Bungie does things pretty well, especially on the lore and story side of things. So, I mean, it was pretty cool seeing Crota. Now, that doesn't mean, I mean, what do you think, man? That doesn't mean it's like, would it have been cool to get something totally new in a new place? And not go back to the moon? I mean, sure. Right?
Well, and obviously, like, the bosses and the different enemies returning, like, there's something else. You know, the overall, like, enemy is not immediately apparent.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Something.
It's not as if there's not another central bad guy.
Yeah. We're helping her figure out what's going on with her, basically. And almost stepping inside of her head and fighting these things, it sounds like, right?
Yeah. I'm excited for it. And then as well in the Vidoc, they mention the location of the new raid. Spoiler alert.
Oh, dude, yes.
The Black Garden.
Which is cool. That is awesome.
Didn't see that coming.
No, didn't either.
I'm excited.
Yeah, man. You know, it's interesting. Like, they implement, you know, whatever tweaks to this or that or this system or whatever. Like, when it comes to the story and the lore and the triumphs and the you know, lore books and stuff like that, like, we know we're gonna get some pretty solid stuff here. And when you got Eris Morn involved, like, dude, I'm totally cool going back to the moon. Like, this is gonna be cool.
I think it's cool, man. It's not like they're just recycling some content, right? Like, I think it's totally okay to come back to, you know, characters that we've seen and love in, or infamous characters.
Well, like Mara is a great
just
example, right? How long do we want her to come back?
There's no reason why we can't go back to places we've been, right? I mean, there's only so many planets and moons in the solar system. You know, we gotta, you know, I'm excited to go back to the moon. They even mentioned the playable area is going to be twice as big as the original, original Moon Patrol, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll see some of those areas, but they might be a little different, right? I'm really seeing the analogy to Rise of Iron and like the Plague Lands and stuff. And I really liked that expansion. Like that expansion I thought was excellent. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, I am too. It does make me wonder like what their goals are, in year 4, year 5, like how they will introduce brand new, maybe enemy classes, like we got similar to last fall, but like new places, but this is kind of like, this is year 3, like this is, we said a couple times in our party this week, I said we're in the golden age of the game right now, at least what we've known it to be in the past. Like we're year 2 going into year 3. Things are fine-tuned. Things are fun. The systems are in place. And who knows, maybe we won't get like a full-blown iteration. Maybe it'll just build and build and build from some of this info we've gotten. It kind of seems maybe. But like right now, dude, like it's fun, man. And just throwing the moon into that and Eris, like it's going to be a good time. It's going to be fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So there's Destiny 2 Shadowkeep to look forward to, along with a lot of new, cool features that they're promising. Man, they mentioned, here's the official breakdown, the store, new missions and quests, new destination and dungeon, new armor and gear, all new raid, season pass for Season of the Undying. All that's included in the standard edition.
They specifically say dungeon too.
Yeah.
They've nodded several times, acknowledged that the community has loved the dungeon.
Yeah,
ideas.
I like that as like a selling point too. They're like, hey, here you go, here's your dungeon. The only thing I don't see on here is strikes.
Right? Yeah.
I'm just wondering if strikes are going the way of the dodo one day, but
we'll see.
And then some other cool things we get to look forward to that they talked about in the Vidoc, like artifacts, which we don't even totally know what those are.
Dude, yeah, we don't. It was weird.
Armor 2.0.
The one thing they did say about the artifact is that obviously if you didn't see it, it was just like an artifact with a bunch of nodes inside of it that you could customize yourself and kind of almost like you're filling out a skill tree. But one thing they did say is by the time you get to the end of it, this thing will almost be as powerful as an exotic. I remember him saying that, and I don't know what that means. You know what I mean? But it sounds great.
Yeah.
So what does it apply to? Right?
Create some new ways to play. Very analogous to what we saw in year 3 of Destiny 1, if you remember. Did they call them They didn't call them artifacts, and then did they? What were they called?
Oh no, I'm pretty sure it was artifacts.
Were those artifacts too?
Yeah.
So it's like you're kind of following some of the original plans they had for
and I think
Rise of Iron.
The artifact that they showed in the Vidoc was it said Eye of the Gate Lord. Who knows if that was just a placeholder?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but and then sorry, you mentioned Armor 2.0. How interesting was that?
Gosh,
dude?
like I don't even know. We don't even know what that means, but they alluded a lot to wanting players to be able to wear what they want to wear. They showed some kind of new mod system that to me it looked like basically instead of perks, like all that was replaced just with mods.
Right. Yep.
Which seems really smart to me.
Yeah, it seems excellent. It seems customized any gear you want. The mod is the grind, not the roll on the gear.
Right.
Yeah.
That way you have some armor, and that might have different stats, but you'll be able to kind of fit it to your play style and use the stuff that you like. You want to look a certain way, or you want it, you want to wear heavy armor or mobility armor, whatever.
Yes.
This is all just like we're just guessing here. Don't hold us to that, but this is what
there's
it seems
so
like
much
they're going for.
Stuff. I don't even know where we say it in the show. I want to say it like when I think of it, so we don't forget it. But they hammered home like we want to go full blown. It's still an action game, but we want to go full blown RPG, and they flat out said action MMO. Like
that's
boom.
big.
Yeah, man. Just straight up. This is where we're at. We've heard you guys, and this is what we're leaning into. So, I mean, that's exciting, dude. I mean, I think you've even mentioned on several episodes, like you'd love for the game to just have many more RPG
Go
elements.
hard into RPG, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've been wanting.
Yep.
It definitely looks like they're going to do that. We saw in the Vidoc some potential clues and images of what we may see. It looked like intellect, discipline, and strength may be returning, along with the system that we have. A lot of stats and just all kinds of stuff going on.
Could get crazy.
Finishing moves.
Oh, yes.
How crazy is this?
Yes. Very cool. I have so many questions, though. I
know, like, how does it work? How do you trigger it? What's the button combination?
Our super is our finishing move. So how is this gonna work? How's it gonna work in PvP? What's the cooldown gonna be? All I know is it looks awesome. It looks
like, is it gonna have its own cooldown, or will it use super energy? Or
right? Ooh, that's a good one. Would it use a little super energy to do a cool? There's got to be like I have this
feeling they're going to be tied to the artifacts.
Oh, okay. They looked cool though, man. Like, and then of course I went right into PvP. I'm like, how are finishing moves gonna work in the Crucible?
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for the salt.
Could be very satisfying, but yes, the salt could flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, they talk about Destiny 2 New Lights. So this is big, and this is getting overlooked a little bit, but Destiny 2 is going free to play.
Mm-hmm. Basically, they never even used that phrase, but it is.
Well, they didn't say free to play, but if you go to the page for Destiny 2 New Light, it's just straight up saying play for free, 9/17/19.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's basically, and I've really tried to understand this. It's like their whole another big theme of the Vidoc and stuff is that they know it's a challenge to get your friends back in the game, and they know it's a challenge when you fall behind, and they're trying to restructure it extremely. Like they know all these things, and basically they want anyone to be able to jump in at any season and not have 40 hours worth of grinding to do.
Right.
And this is kind of
it seems like it's all about bringing down the barriers that keep people from re-engaging or even jumping in the first time.
Right.
Like make it less intimidating, or make it less upfront investment if you want to be playing with your friends. And they mentioned, like, if you just jump in the new expansion, you'll go in, you'll do the original, like, Destiny 1 mission, waking up in the Cosmodrome, right?
Right, yeah.
And then you'll get
so
gear, cool. And you'll be at, I think they said 750 light, and you'll be able to just jump in and play with everybody.
Yeah, and it said, I was trying to really look at this at like what you would get, and looking at some other fellow community members, what they were kind of looking into, and reading the page myself. And so it seems like you'll basically, because they do use the word some content, but I think what the sum means is it's all the way up to Forsaken. Like, I think they even, but what's weird is they even said you could play Gambit.
Well, so if you look at the page, it says basically all the modes are available. So all the PvP content and maps, Gambit, strikes, basically all of that content, and you'll have, they mention all of the destinations available. But the difference is it's almost like, so you can do all the modes and you can play all the content, but if you want to play the seasonal or the DLC related content, you'll have to buy that season in particular.
Right.
So if you want to go play Last Wish, or you want to probably like go do the dungeon, or you want to go back and play Spire Stars or something, you'll be able to like piecemeal buy that particular, expansion.
Right. Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah,
but I do think
year one raids would be available, but not.
That was, I'm misspeaking there, because they said, all the raid layers and all that stuff will be free. So bad example on that, but all the Forsaken stuff.
You're right. Yeah. Forsaken and Beyond. Yep.
Yeah. But I think that's huge. Can you imagine the amount of, new Guardians that we might get if you're just like,
wow.
yeah, you can play all the first year of Destiny 2 for free. Like,
yeah, dude, it's like you said, the theme was breaking down the barriers, and we'll talk, I'm sure, a little bit more about cross save too, because that plays right into that. But yeah, this is all about that. They use the phrase, everything's going to be like a la carte now, so you can jump in at any season and play that content with your friends. And
yeah, and additionally going forward, like if you want to buy, season 9 and not season 10, then by season 11, you'll be able to do that and not have to buy the things before.
Right.
Which has always been kind of a sticky point for a lot of players. Like over the years, I've had friends and different people in the community, and they'll be out for a little while, and then they'll want to come back, and they're like, oh, I got to buy all these expansions to play friends. This, and like people get,
wow, how much am I going to have to grind? Like, will you help me with that? Like, okay. And then they just end up not getting it. It almost seems like, I mean, do you get the sense, and I'm not saying they're like fully innovating on this, but it really, you kind of get the vibe of kind of Destiny or Bungie on their own, right? They kind of, it seems like they really stepped back and looked at this, and they're like, okay, this isn't working. What can we do to make this work? Very much like Destiny itself. They've kind of wrote the book on this type of game, action shooter. Now they're calling it finally an MMO. Like, this layer of accessibility. Like they seem like they're kind of stepping back and creating this themselves. Like trying to get away from some of these old school patterns of releasing content.
If you look at other games, especially like Warframe, in their model that is totally free to play, and you just buy the expansions and the content you want. And there's other things you can do too that are a little bit different. You can buy like different frames and different stuff. So it's a little bit different model, but if you look at what makes it successful to a point is it's anybody can just pick it up and get into it. And if you find you're having fun, then you can go spend money on it, but you don't have to spend the money up front and be like, do I want to do this? And if I want to play with all my friends, do I have to spend $100 to like be current,
Yeah.
So it's really smart. I mean, it's like you're saying, they took a step back and said, what's good for the player and what is going to be good to bring more players into this universe. And they've got to think about how they want to make money moving forward.
Exactly.
Too.
That's what I was about to say. And ultimately, I mean, whether you want it or not, they've got to think about how to make money, or we're not going to have a game, right? So,
and the more people they can bring back into the game or into the game for the first time and deliver good content, that's ultimately how they're going to be able to create a wider customer base and generate more revenue for the studio.
Yep.
That's very smart. I mean, I think they're really, Deej said it before, a couple days before the announcement. He said, from now on, we're doing things differently. And I mean, it is exciting, dude. Like it's a whole new paradigm.
We, even with this reveal, we have constructive criticism on a few things. I mean, I'm sure at some point maybe we'll hint at the lack of PvP still. It's coming. I really believe it's coming. But you really can feel it, man. Like, it is exciting right now, dude. I mean, we have to talk about cross save a little more too. We got to make some time for that.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
Moving on.
So that's a big deal that I think we need to pay attention to, and I think in September, man, like Destiny could be huge. So, Destiny 2 is going to continue to be on PC and is moving to Steam on September 17th as well. That's big news, and a lot of people I think expected Bungie to possibly go partner up with Epic, and that is not the case.
Right. It seems like a smart decision. I mean, the whole Epic thing's interesting. They've unfortunately been getting a little bit of negative,
getting some flack
vibes. But it's Steam, right? And if you want traffic, I mean, it's been that way for a long time. Steam.
They've got a big, customer base. I mean, everybody that's got a PC that plays games is going to have Steam installed, right? And they mention current PC players, you'll be able to bring all your progress, all your purchases, your Guardians, everything will be moving over to Steam with you off the Blizzard launcher.
Yeah, they say they'll have a lot of these things we're talking about. They've got links in their post that say follow this page for more info. And this is another example. Like they say they're going to make it as seamless as possible, but they don't have all the information yet. So yeah.
So this next piece of news is not something I saw coming at all. I mean, I couldn't have guessed this. Destiny 2 is coming to Stadia.
Crazy.
Which, if you're not familiar, is Google's new cloud gaming platform that you'll be able to play on any Chrome browser. They also have like their own it's like a Chrome, like a stick, kind of like you have your Roku stick or your Amazon, what is it called? Is it Fire or whatever it is?
Fire TV. Yeah. Fire Stick.
Yeah. They'll be selling, a similar device that you can plug in, via HDMI, if you want to play 4K, and there's a controller.
I was really surprised at the price point I wasn't probably going to get Stadia, definitely not initially, but the price point at $130. Obviously it's a subscription.
Yeah. For the Founders Edition, right?
Yeah. For the Founders Edition.
Now you don't have to buy that to use Stadia.
Right.
You can subscribe to the service and you can plug in your controller.
Exactly.
That's
yep.
compatible with your, device, whatever that is. And then just get to playing. Now you're going to have the bandwidth.
Yeah. And there's still question marks. It is Google behind it. So it seems pretty promising with the power that they have, in technology, but it's everybody's question is delay and this or that, but it seems like very confident in this product and service. So, and man, it's no joke with Destiny too. Like if you go to some of their stuff, like the very first little snippet of video that plays is Destiny footage, right? So it is right up front and center.
Yeah, it seems like they're
there was some talk outside of that.
Making it a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm personally very skeptical about Stadia as a service. Compared to, for instance, Project X Cloud.
Right.
Just because I'm skeptical if it's going to be as reliable and it's going to be what they're selling it to be.
Right.
And Google is an enormous company and obviously they've got a lot of infrastructure, but this is
a lot of question marks. Yeah.
This is a new area for them, So we'll see. The service itself will not even be fully launched until next year. In order to play this in the fall, you're going to have to, I think, buy the Founders Edition.
Yeah, I think you have to buy the Founders, which is that
to have access to the service. Yep. Yeah. So a lot more to come about that, I'm sure, with new updates and
it's
how
interesting,
that's all going to work.
Like for Bungie to, obviously they're doing a lot of different things here. There's a lot of stuff going on that they're doing to build a franchise in their company. But it's interesting that, they took the steps this early on to, obviously they think there's something there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see.
Partnering up with, that's a risk on both sides. But hopefully it pays off. Hopefully it does. The other big question is, are Stadia players going to be part of the PC server population, or will they be in their own servers? I think it would be difficult with an early adoption technology to have a viable player base on its own servers. Don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to have 1 million players on Stadia in the fall.
Almost have to be meshed in.
Not even close.
With some base.
So we'll find out.
Lot to find out there. It seems like the answer to everything.
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Usually we're just talking about usually we would just be talking about Shadowkeep and those questions that we had. There's so much stuff right now.
Yeah, there's so much other bigger picture stuff too. Next up, some of the biggest news ever for Destiny. Cross save.
Dude, this is insane. I feel like we could talk about this the entire show because the community has wanted and been asking for this for so long. You and I can finally play together, dude, and bring our mains with us. It is extremely exciting, dude. Like, it is very exciting.
It's exciting just what it's going to do for the community as a whole. And the flexibility it gives players. They're gonna sell more software. I've already seen people question and asking, oh, well, am I gonna have to buy it on multiple platforms? I think that's gonna be a no-brainer. Yes.
And it's not, it's not cross-play. They never said cross-play throughout the entire thing. It is cross-save right now. And I know cross-play would be a little more accessible for Guardians. Obviously, you wouldn't have to own multiple platforms. But man, cross save. I do own an Xbox, a PlayStation, and a PC, and it's just over the years purchasing those things. And cross save's huge for me, man, because now I can throw on my Xbox and go play with Cyborg.
Yeah, man,
it's huge, man. It's a big deal. Maybe hopefully at some point we'll get cross play. As well, but I've cross save, cross progression has always been like my want, for me, and it is exciting, dude, to be able to jump on PC, specifically, being in a community like we're in, with the Derp fam, just having that ability to play with anyone in the community, it's exciting, dude. It's really cool.
Yeah, it really is. It's going to do a lot for people. I'm just
think
super
about
excited.
How many Dirt fams are out there, right? Like how many smaller communities inside the larger Destiny community that are going to benefit from this.
Yeah. So. I'll be able to jump over and play comp with people on PlayStation and jump on PC and do raids.
All that, like immediately some of the Guardians you play with were like messaging me and they're like, sweet dude, we can finally play PvP together. And I'm like, it's awesome, dude. It's so cool.
It is cool, man.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. I think it's going to be huge for the community. And, there's questions about how it's going to work. There's another link here. Watch this space for updates on how it'll work. But the overall idea is they say with cross save, you'll be able to access the same characters tied to one primary account, enabling you to have a unified experience with the same Guardians on different platforms. I did see a tweet up today. I want to say it was Cosmo, and he clarified, all your purchases will go between platforms, meaning, microtransactions and stuff like that. If you have something on one, if your main account was on Xbox like me, if you go over and play on PC, like the same stuff you have unlocked will be unlocked there, which is really smart. And
hopefully it's real smooth, right? Like I don't want to have to log on and move my character. I think you asked that, didn't you?
That was so their social media manager posted a tweet up and they said, look, we're working. We know you have a lot of questions. We're working on putting together an FAQ. What kind of questions do you have? And one thing I asked was, is going from one thing to the other, is it going to be just seamless and I log in, or am I going to have to import my guys? One would hope that they're going to make this seamless, but you just never know,
right?
If it's difficult or not, or maybe there's an initial setup that you got to do, especially if you have multiple accounts, right? Like I've got a PC Guardian that's been sitting there since October of 17 or
I've got a female Titan on the old PC.
So I'm sure you're gonna have to sort all that out somehow. But some other things they did mention, like for your clan, your membership in the clan will be, for any platform that you're on. You won't have to have you won't be taking up a spot for every platform. And I was just thinking, the way, in the Derp fam, we have all these different clans and they're console specific. it's totally going to throw all that into disarray.
Yep.
It'll really just become, little micro communities of who plays with whom and who wants to be in a clan together.
Mm-hmm.
But, overall, those boundaries kind of coming down is going to be good for communities.
Yeah, and like you said, man, I was thinking it was going to be whatever Destiny 3 is going to look like or whatever it's going to be. Obviously, it sounds like, Destiny 2's for several years, but I was thinking it was going to be like the next big iteration of Destiny before we would see cross save. So yeah, like you said, this fall, like that is insane. It's awesome.
Man, just months away.
Mm-hmm.
So amazing. Another thing they don't have in this article, but they did confirm in the announcement stream is that they're doing away with exclusives entirely.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No more exclusives. Man, everything. Can you just pinch me?
Yep,
is this
everything's
real?
falling into place, man.
I feel like I could be dreaming, and I'm going to wake up and have like this 30-minute soliloquy on the podcast about how I had this dream and everything came true that we ever wanted.
Yep.
It's crazy,
it's
man.
Nuts. It is. It's cool, man. It's an exciting week.
Okay, so I'm going through this article, the next chapter for Destiny 2. We talked about the PC move. We talked about, so in case you missed it, they have different editions for Shadowkeep specifically. If you just buy that by itself, you'll have Destiny with Destiny Shadowkeep. You don't have to have purchased any previous content.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be able to jump in and play. No matter if you've played any previous seasons, you'll be able to buy individual seasons as you choose moving forward, which I think is really cool. They have a collector's edition up on the Bungie store. You can get one for each platform, or you can buy one without the software, which I think is really smart.
That's huge.
Yep. Yeah. In the past, I've had
digital.
I wanted to go digital. I ended up buying the PlayStation edition, so I'd have an extra copy and do all kinds of weird stuff.
Saves that trip to GameStop at 9 to midnight.
My guess is that these may only be on the Bungie store.
Possibly, yeah.
Especially seeing as they're self-publishing, it may not be. They just may not have the channels set up, or they may not prefer to offer these through other merchants. It just may not be worth, what it costs and what it takes to do all that. It's very complicated. So I would encourage you, if you want those, to pre-order those on the Bungie store right now. Some cool stuff, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So there's this cool Hive relic thing that has some kind of code that you have to put in to unlock and get something out of it, which is pretty cool. But they have a 192 page journal.
Yes.
Eris's journal. 190. That's like a book, man.
That's exciting.
It's like a small novella. So that's pretty exciting.
Purchase.
If you're into that. What else should we cover here? We talked about let's talk about real quick, because we've kind of touched and kind of been touch and go on this. Let's talk about the announcement stream and the Vidoc for a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So the announcement stream overall, really cool stream. I loved how they had Datto up interviewing folks.
Yeah.
That was really cool. He did a really good job.
Yeah, he has some pretty pressing questions. The community appreciated that.
He put their feet to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't necessarily get the straight answers that we may have wanted,
right?
But he asked the questions.
Mm-hmm.
He asked about Destiny 3. He asked about Trials. He asked about PvP.
Right.
A number of things there. So, I really enjoyed the overall presentation, and I enjoyed hearing from they had a lot of different developers up to talk about different aspects of the content, and what we can expect, from story to sandbox, and on and on. that was pretty cool. I really liked the way that they did that.
Mm-hmm. It was neat, man. Yeah.
What other kind of stuff did they talk about in the stream that we haven't covered here, man? I want to make sure we don't miss any big items.
I mean, I don't know when we want to touch on PvP for a second.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably of it all, that was I would say the most negative feedback I've seen is once again, the pattern right now, the lack of PvP chatter. They did say, I think in one of the vidocs that, I mean, they talked about Crucible Labs, and they talked about the fall being like the start of the focus of restructuring of PvP. And like they mentioned that. They had to know they had to say something about PvP. Maybe they thought that was enough. I know everybody's, including myself, is just wanting some sort of Trials equivalent. I really think they're working on it, right? And they did talk about it a little. I could have used a little bit more PvP love. They did say at some point a while back, right, that there was going to be more PvP news to talk about in the summer, right? So I feel like this isn't when that was going to be. Like if you throw...
I don't think they have the full details of what we can expect this season, but they put out, I feel like it's getting a little bit of a bad rap. I mean, they threw out like, we're going to see some old returning. I mean, they had a preview up for Elimination.
Yeah.
How is nobody flipping their stuff over that?
Yeah,
like,
that's big, man. That's exciting. Just to have Elimination back, period.
I think they mentioned some new maps. They mentioned the evolution of I want to say they talked about competitive, like touched on it for a second. So I just feel like they touched on it, and we're going to find out more. But I think the impression
PvP is going to be its own announcement. They don't want it drowned out in this. Like it's going to be big enough that that's all they're going to talk about.
I agree. And I think what a lot of PvP players really wanted was them just to come out and be like, yeah, Trials is coming back, and that question was asked, and Luke Smith danced around it. I don't think he had anything definitive to say.
I just don't think it's the time. I'm sure. I mean, we know there for a while. It's like, the community was rumbling. Is there even a PvP team? I mean, they have more than answered that. It's, even in this announcement alone, like you can, obviously Deej had his tweet where what he said on that raid along, I think, something of that nature. Like something's brewing, right? They know it's important. And I think it's going to be big enough to have its own stage, right? It's just, we just have to wait a little longer, unfortunately.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a big season devoted to that stuff on its own,
Yep.
We saw Gambit get its own central season with Gambit Prime. Like,
right.
We could see a season that's like, all right, the return of Trials. And wouldn't you rather it be that way?
Right. Yes.
Rather than it be overshadowed by a big expansion. Like, I would rather see Trials then show up the next season and have a big like focus around it, and like quests and lore and all this fun stuff, and get the whole community rallied around the activity. Like, that would be so much fun. So let's hope that that's what they have planned.
Yes. I mean, I'm a big PvP player. And I'm playing less PvP right now, minus this reset because I want the Revoker. But at some point, we need this PvP reveal stage. I think it's brewing. I think it's coming, but the time is definitely like, hopefully is soon. Like, you can feel more than the want for it right now. And with all this stuff, it's amazing. It's unbelievable. And if anything, look at that. Look how organized it looks. Look how much it looks like they're just driving home what Destiny's future looks like. And I think you can kind of turn that. And even though we didn't get a lot of PvP info, we got some, like the excitement for where maybe PvP, how much love and passion it's getting poured into it right now that hopefully we'll hear about soon. Hopefully optimistic thinking. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, here's the thing. One of the developers said, like, we made a mistake and we underserved the PvP community. We didn't put the planning into the annual pass that PvP needed. Like, we realized we made a mistake there. So like, they're owning it, and I think that's the first step of like turning that around. Is like, they own it. They know what the community has desired now. And I think that they have some stuff they're working on, like you said, and hopefully we see some more news on what we can expect from PvP this summer for the fall. And it'll be something with a little meat on the bone, right?
Right. I agree.
So yeah, man, what a man. I just feel like my head's just buzzing from that stream. Like, I want to go back and watch the whole thing.
I don't know. I've almost watched it twice now, all the way through. It's almost like our next episode. Like, they can just hold off for releasing any more crazy, awesome news, and we're gonna have to break down even more the Vidoc, and the Shadowkeep trailer, and the
we've got E3. We've got E3 next week. They have a panel.
Yet.
Yeah, they've got a panel coming up where they're going to talk more about. I'm sure we'll find out more info, and they're going to be doing interviews with media outlets while they're there. So I'm sure we're going to see some big articles and pieces where they'll do some more specific, info drops that we have to look forward to. It's kind of part of the PR with this stuff. Yeah, man, just so much to cover. We're going to continue to unpack this stuff over the coming, weeks and months over the summer as we get more news. Obviously there's a ton of cool stuff. We've seen the Vidoc, cool stuff we've seen in the stream and the trailers. Go check all that out. Let us know what excites you. Like, there's a big conversation to be had about all of this stuff. We want to engage with you about it. Hit us up on Twitter. Ask us if you want to know what we think about something. We can't cover it on the show this week. Go find us there. Send us an email. We'll continue to talk more and more about it. There's just literally
so much, yeah.
More. This has got to be the week more than ever before. There's just too much to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at some point we want to talk about like the heavy exotic bow and the scoped hand cannon that they had in the Vidoc.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that.
We'll get into that,
rifle.
That stuff later. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so much cool stuff, man.
Yeah,
I can't wait. Can't wait to get our hands on this.
Overload, man.
That's a lot of the news. There was, of course, the update. A lot of the stuff we saw previews of ahead of time. There's some other things. We'll talk a little bit in the reset, of course, about some of the UI changes and some of that stuff that we saw coming up here in a minute. But definitely go read through the patch notes. There's a ton of stuff that's pertinent about weapons, the sandbox, bug fixes, you name it. With 2.5.0 and 0.1, you want to keep up on that stuff for sure. And that's the news. That's all. Next up, should I say it? Would you like the honors?
No, you do it.
All right. AER0KNIGHT, for the 200th time, how was your reset?
Oh man, it's been a busy reset. I decided to do this season what I said I was going to do last season. And I immediately started grinding for the Crucible Pinnacle weapon.
Nice. The Revoker sniper rifle, right?
Yes, the Revoker sniper rifle. So I did throw up a poll because I couldn't decide if I wanted
you and your
to
polls.
go for my Twitter polls. Hush, or I'm kind of like I might do the grenade launcher last, but I couldn't decide if I wanted Hush first, the Gambit bow, or Revoker, the Crucible sniper. I'm like, all right, everybody voted on the Revoker, so I'm like, all right, let's do this. And we got some Dirt Fam together, dude, and we just jumped in comp 2 different evenings, and dude, I gotta say, I think 2 seasons ago with the grenade launcher, I'm like, man, like one criticism I have is like, can we just play comp the way we want to play? Like, I don't really want to have to get grenade launcher kills. So last season they did that, right? With Recluse, like you just had to get wins and you had to hit a certain rank. But this season they've done it again where you have to use the weapon you're trying to get, which makes sense. I understand it. But fortunately for me, Like, I would still rather everyone be able to play the way they want to play, because there's a lot of people on my fire team that don't typically snipe, and it's a little bit rough for them, you know? But, you know, maybe we've talked about that. Maybe that's kind of the point. You know, you're using weapons maybe you'll end up liking. But for me, snipers are my game. So I'm right at home. You know, I'm running Last Word in my Aachen, and dude, in 2 nights of play, 300 final blows done and 50 crits done.
Nice.
all I have is my some more glory to get, because we went on winning streak, losing streak, winning streak. Obviously, it's really cool what they've done this season, because losing is way less painful because it just tracks your progress. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
So I've got, I think, like 2,000 more glory to get, but it's been a blast, dude. And I don't even know if I'm gonna like this sniper. It all depends on how it feels. I've seen some footage of it, some videos of some of the community members playing with it, and it looks good. But again, it's also kinetic. I can't use my last word, but it's more about the challenge as well. I'm trying to get it quick, knock it out. I'm really gonna try and knock it out in the first reset, and then move on to something else. But I've played way more Crucible in this last reset than I thought I was going to at the start of the season. But I'm like determined to get that thing right away. I did jump on the PvE side, and I knocked out the quest and the menagerie. I played 2 runs through, I think. What
did you think about the menagerie?
Dude, it's really, you know, it's neat. I do like it. When I went in the first room, you know, I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool. Yeah, I'm always asking for some sort of horde mode, and I mean, there you go. It's cool, and I don't fully. I guess maybe I understand the mechanics. I've only ran it twice, but it seems as though the better you do, the faster you beat it, right? Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, that's kind of what I've picked up. I same as you. I couldn't tell you 100% how every encounter works and like what you do to progress entirely. What I did pick up is several of the encounters will get progressively harder and they're timed. And if you can best them, you get more progress. And you're basically like you're filling up a bar. And how you fare in each encounter fills up that bar. And so if you can, you know, go up to the challenge and maybe it gets, you know, a higher power delta, or it gets more complicated, whatever it is, like you can fill it up quicker and you don't have to do every activity to get to the end. You know, you may be able to do it faster or do one thing really well.
Right.
That's kind of what I've gathered.
Yeah, and it is fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm low light right now, so it's a bit painful. That final boss in one match made instance I was in, it took a while to melt him down. But it's I like it. So far I enjoy it. I like the what's it called? The chalice. That seems interesting. Still trying to figure it out. I've been tuned in with the community. Of course, they're already figuring out all the combinations and what you need to do. So I'm still kind of in that stage because I played so much Crucible where I'm just trying to figure it out, you know, and see what exactly is going on. But yeah, man, I mean, for the most part, that has been what I've done. I've played 2 or 3 play sessions, and almost all of it entirely was in the Crucible. So I have, the other thing is I have a major vault problem right now, dude. Like,
oh yeah,
I've went through and cleaned it out like 3 or 4 times, but I still am keeping a lot of like OG stuff, and I'm like, I was at 500 at one point this reset, and I had to go like delete a few things, and I don't know, I'm going to have to get even more picky, I guess, because 50 more slots would have been nice.
yeah, man. I, Monday night before reset, and I had been like cleaning out a couple things here and there, but Monday night I just had to go like nuts, just start deleting all kinds of stuff because I knew I would need some space. So I just got rid of all kinds of stuff. And I was like, you know what? I haven't used this. You know, I got a better perk combination on this. Like, dismantle, just getting rid of all kinds of stuff. And I still only end up with like 40 slots in my vault. I mean, there's just a big space problem with the
always
way,
has been, right?
Well, especially when with I think it's armor. It's really armor more than guns, because with guns, you might have like a few of 1 or 2 guns, that you really like, and you're like, well, this perk combination is great for this, and this is great for that. But with armor, like I have like 9 of one helmet that just have all these different perk sets I want. So if I decide I want to run a shotgun and a machine gun, I get the perks that I want, or this or that. And and then on top of that, you've got different power of stuff that you've got to hold on to, and it just becomes a mess,
Mm-hmm.
I really hope the new armor system can help solve this.
I hope so too, yeah, because it definitely for me too is a lot of armor, and the occasional what I consider a god roll, and then the occasional I don't really know for sure, so I'm gonna throw it in my vault just in case for later. So, yeah, I mean it's a loot game, man. You gotta have room for your loot, but I'm also hoarding some things, so I probably could do another clean out.
I just, for a loot game, like a certain amount of hoarding has to be acceptable.
Accepted,
like,
yeah, very true.
I know guys who are like just brutal about it. Like, you don't need any of that. Like, you never use it, but it's not true. Like in a certain scenario, when I want to optimize, I'll pull stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like, oh, I got the perfect thing for this. Like when I got Recluse.
Yes.
I had never needed a gauntlet with submachine gun loader.
Same.
But I had one. I was like, oh,
that's like on my Titan, dude. I have all the different armor for different loadouts I might use. I may very rarely use them, but that's the whole point. And then you have to also factor in, you keep, rolls on weapons that you think down the road, post a patch hits, it could be very
Stuff
powerful.
Changes, things can get better, things can get worse. I've got like a couple swords I hang on to. I had a bunch of good grenade launchers I hung on to that ended up being really useful. Just stuff like that, like fusions. Man, fusions are brutal in PvE now. Like they pack a punch. So more than ever, fusions are even more useful. So all these fusions I had these cool rolls on, I'm breaking out and like having so much fun with,
Yep. Yeah, man, it's it's a semi vault problem right now, probably more than semi. But anyways, dude, what about you? What have you been up to?
Oh my gosh, this week has been a grind, man. So
I know one thing you're prepping for or already been doing.
Yeah, so like my whole team, well, not my whole team, but my raid team for this particular season is super motivated to complete the new raid in the first week.
Yeah.
And so we all spent all last week grinding our little hearts out. For the first time ever that I've ever done this, I did a ton of grinding for raid prep.
Nice.
And there was whole guides around this and like how to do it. And on 3 characters, I had just slews of bounties and things ready to just optimize, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at reset, we jumped in and we did the quest, the initial quest. And we started just going through our characters, like turning in all this stuff like just the right way and doing these different activities and going this and back and forth. And man, in the end, it like still didn't have enough time to do everything I needed to do on 3 characters. I actually only got through 2 of them before we had to be like, all right, it's almost 9:00 at night. We got to get this raid started because people are going to have to go to bed at a certain point to get work tomorrow. So, and I took a break in there too, to eat dinner and hang out with my family, but it was a real grind. And then we jumped into the raid, man. And had a pretty good time. We got through the first 2 encounters and we were working on the 3rd and kind of starting to get that figured out, but it was getting a little late. Kind of pushing the time when people needed to get off so they could go to work in the morning and not be totally dead.
Yeah, definitely.
And
There's
we
a
were
balance.
a little bit gear checked. Not terribly, but most of us were under, somewhere between like 710 and 720, like just different for different people. Some of us on the high end, some of us on the low. And I think the activity was, I think it was 725 at that point. but your effective light might have only, because we were in contest mode. It was kind of funny because so the first encounter was 715, but your effective light was only 700. So it was actually challenging because you're gear checked like in a 15-point delta on power, even though we were higher. So it was a bit difficult just dealing with all the, the power of the enemies that you're having to face and destroy. And so that continues through, and I don't know exactly what our effective power was on that third encounter, but it was just getting a little tricky and people were tired. So that's where we've left it. And then everybody's kept grinding and are getting in the like mid 720s now. So we're going to go back in.
Nice.
The contest mode is over now.
Yes.
So
that was just the first 24 hours, right?
Yeah. So I think it'll actually now prove to our advantage because we won't be as underpowered. I think I've heard the final raid boss is at 735. So we'll be within the distance that we need to be, I think, if we can best it. So this is a Friday night that we're recording now, and we're going to go in Saturday night, I think, maybe Sunday. If we can pull it off, if we don't finish.
Yeah, that's
try
cool,
to
man.
get it done.
I mean, that's exciting, dude. And you said you were trying to get it done by the next reset, but did you say why? It's because you guys are trying to get
everybody wants the jacket.
Jacket, yeah. That's what I was.
And the jacket is so cool, man.
It is cool.
It's such a cool jacket.
It's a beauty. Yeah. That's cool though, man. You get your team in, you're running the raid blind, just gearing up. It's an accomplishment, dude.
This is what this is like our
it's your trials.
Bread and butter. Yeah, this is our fun thing. You only get this once every so often, and this is kind of when we grind it and what we get a lot of enjoyment out of this content.
That's cool,
doing.
Man.
It's
really neat.
challenging, but like there's just a cool feeling with going in, like prepping really hard and then going in as a team and figuring out those encounters and having the satisfaction like, okay, we saw it for the first time. We experienced it. We got those moments ourselves. We figured it out, as a team, and we coordinated and we got it done. Like that's a lot of fun to be able to do.
Yep.
It's a whole different thing to be brought in and have some people teach you or Sherpa you, or to go sit down and watch a guide and then organize it. It's totally different to go in and have to just from scratch figure out what the heck's going on here. Right?
Yeah,
like
definitely.
You're just totally at a loss for about 5 minutes. And then you have to start to figure out like, okay, what is the objective here? What are we supposed to be doing? Like what happens when you do this? What happens when you do this? And you just start experimenting with stuff. Mm-hmm. It's fun though.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude, that's really cool.
And I'm really proud of my team. Like the guys that I play with, like the team that I play with has really evolved over time. A lot of guys that were with me, in Destiny 2 year one aren't still playing on the team. They're either not playing or playing with different people. Like, so the team has evolved, but, all the guys that are in this team, this past season, and we've done all the flawless raid stuff together. Bunch of great guys, like really fun to play with. Like we have a ton of fun. We make fun of each other. We have fun while we're doing the stuff. Just always shenanigans going on and silliness but also just really smart guys, smart players, know how to work as a team and support each other and stuff. So, you guys are listening. Real proud of you guys. Appreciate y'all.
That's great, dude. That's what the game's all about, man. And, staying cool, calm, and collected in stressful situations and staying friends.
We'll definitely yell at each other sometimes, but
hey, it happens. That's okay.
It's part of it. It's not like real anger. It's
anger. Yeah. It's like, hey, come on, we can do this.
Like, stop screwing around. Come on.
Stop falling on the jumping puzzle, which I've heard the raid is fun. But I haven't heard if there's a jumping puzzle or anything. So you have to update us.
Oh, there is a little section. Yeah. There's a little jumpy section. It's not super long.
Cool. Yeah.
There always is. It actually has like this kind of different spin as opposed to just like jumping through stuff. Like there's a mechanic to it.
Okay.
You saw Eater of Worlds, right? the jumping section for that.
Yeah.
It's kind of along those lines.
Okay. Yeah, see, dude, it's funny. You just reminded me. We speculated a long time ago, I think when Milan was on the show, that I was kind of hoping that Shadow was the name of the title.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. My old pup, dude, from being a kid and growing up, my pup's name was Shadow. And
no way. That's so cool.
Dude. So, like, I just think I really want that title. I do want that title. So old Arrow might be returning to rating because, of course, it's got those rating requirements. And it's such a cool title, though, man. And the lore behind it, like, I really think I'm going to have to grind this season to get that title.
I think this raid will be fun.
That's what I've heard.
To play with people. And I even saw, like, Jay Sniperton, and he does, like, a lot of raid related content from, teaching and Sherpaing and carrying and all those different things. And he was saying on Twitter, like, he was on like his third or fourth run with people, and he's really enjoyed playing it a lot. So,
cool.
I was looking at the seal. It's got 23 triumphs. But a lot of it is
3 pages. I think.
Yeah. A lot of it's menagerie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then there's probably
it's got the raid challenges in there.
2, 3, 4. There's like 5 raid related things, and then there's some secret triumphs we don't know about yet. But another seal, man.
I may return.
Chase.
Old school, man. You're talking year 1, D1 year 1. I used to raid 3 times a week. I've mentioned it before.
I know.
I think I want to raid this season. I miss raiding. I said it 100 times. I know. And I know I jumped in the Crucible as the first thing I did, but I do miss raiding. And hearing you talk about it every time, like, just reminds me of those days, the ritual of hopping on and running that raid, dude. It's
come on back, man.
And crossplay's coming. We can, you can get me back in the raid game.
Oh, absolutely. When that new raid comes out, we'll play that one together.
Dude, how fun is that going to be, though? Like, I can jump in a raid with you, and then maybe Trials or some equivalent will come back, and we can hop on that together. Dude, it's just exciting, man.
Yeah, I'm going to look forward to it for sure.
Cool times. So
yeah, that's been my experience this reset. What I've been up to, I got a couple new like fun toys. I got Astrocyte Verse on my Warlock, which is a returning D1 exotic. Mm-hmm. Man, it feels like D1 Warlock Blink.
Nice.
Like that's what it feels like.
That's
so
cool.
Like, oh man,
that's cool.
A Blink Shoddy might return. Watch out in the Crucible, guys. I really want to get my hands on Peregrine Greaves.
Yes, I do too.
I've heard those are pretty
basically
nasty.
One shot shoulder charge anything, even most supers.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, I want that too. It's funny. I spent a big portion of my Crucible play on my Hunter, and then I'm like, wait, no, I need to go do the quest because I thought you would get like Season of Opulence rewards, like while you're playing Crucible and stuff. You don't get that much, but I hopped over to my Titan to run the quest and then run on my Titan, and then realized I wasn't getting that much, so I hopped back over to my Hunter. Dude, I got 3 exotics while I was on my Hunter. I got one, like, and this was, I think, in the first night of play session. I got like a year 1 chess piece, and then I got, I think, Osiris exotic armor, and then I got a Risk Runner. I'm not complaining, but it was like, okay, please stop. Wait till I get back on my Titan, and then maybe some new stuff. But anyways,
get it, man. I get it.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. 3 exotics, like they were just drops.
That's a lot.
Like they were just instant loot drops. It wasn't like an exotic Ingram, and I don't know. It was interesting to get that many that fast. It was within probably a 2-hour time period. That's how it works. Don't get any for a while, and then boom, boom, boom.
For sure.
Yeah. So.
I was drawing a blank. What else was I going to tell you about? Oh, of course, you brought up the Chalice, and that's a really cool new thing we've got this season, and everybody's trying to upgrade all that, and there's all these different things. I had to throw out a recommendation that I've realized along the way. Whatever upgrades, as you get these currencies called Imperials, go for power and efficiency 2, the first thing. Mm-hmm. Because that's going to do 2 things for you. It's going to give you an extra powerful reward with your Chalice in the menagerie each week. which is helpful. It's also going to give you the chance to get Imperials from playlist activities, because earning Imperials is not super simple and direct. Like, a lot of them are tied to triumphs. You don't like, I was under the impression at first that you would get them just from running Menagerie, but that's not the case.
Right. I thought the same. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll get them from the weekly bounties, and from other triumphs, and there's other like random places you can get them.
You can
but
open all those chests on the barge once a week, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I would go to make sure, like, save those Imperials and go for that node, so you'll have another indirect way that you can get some of those before you start opening up like other rune stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Just a little tip. Just a little tip there.
Yeah, and I mean, again, in this portion too, there's plenty to talk about. I mean, the pursuits tab, that's an interesting thing. Gunsmith bounties, I love, dude. Those are great. I really think it seems like one Masterwork core is actually seems okay. I was thinking it was going to be too little, but then also to get the mod on the weekly's cool. I feel I'm actually getting mod components now. That's nice. But then Zer's supposed to, I mean, he's here now. He's supposed to have random rolls finally, true random rolls. The pursuits tab, that's an interesting thing. It's getting some mixed
All right,
feedback.
tell me what you think about the pursuits tab.
It throws me off. I'm trying to get past it being new. I'm trying to get past that.
I get that. Yeah.
Getting confused about where I'm supposed to go, but something about it it feels off. Something feels off about it.
I'm decidedly not a fan.
It's like, I get what they're trying to do, and I love utilizing the director more. I would like to see the blades used more. We've talked about that, but something about that just feels like it needs to go where it was. I don't know.
My complaint is that even though you can sort and separate bounties from quests, it does not group things together in a way that is intuitive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You find yourself having to read through lines and columns to find pursuits, or to find things okay, wait, where's this bounty? Okay, there it is. And you've got to go through a couple steps to get to the tab, right? It's not easy to access. It's just not intuitive enough for me.
Right. Yeah.
I think the reason that they moved it and did what they had to do was so that they could free up how much space, how many slots were open. Mm-hmm. And it might have freed up some memory and part of the UI.
Yeah, it seems like maybe things on the back end,
run a little faster. And if that's what we gotta do to live, to have that, I understand. But I think this needs some more work for sure.
Yeah, something about it. I mean, I'm all for like UI tweaks and changes, and usually they're pretty spot on with them, but something just feels off with it a little bit. It really does. Something doesn't feel quite smooth. But I'm getting used to it. Like I said, I try to get past the newness factor of it, before I decide, but I think I'm at that point.
Yeah, for sure. But I do at least like that I can carry some more stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's big one.
Good.
Yeah, that's huge. I'm still running into not enough space, but with the gunsmith and drifter has 1 million bounties and all that good stuff. But it works. More space is
definitely good. So that's like a lot of the big stuff going down this week, man. Such a busy week. So much new stuff to play, new stuff coming. Like,
still on overload, dude. Like, I still haven't fully processed. I want to go back and almost watch everything again and start combing through what the community's finding and stuff like that.
Right.
Yep.
So. All right. Well, we got to keep things moving. Are you ready for our next section?
Yes. Cyborg, I hinted earlier in the show, we call this Derp Fam Discourse now, but what did we used to call it?
Used to be called the Derp Fam Feels.
Old school.
Yeah.
Old school.
The Derp Fam Feels.
And we have some feels this week.
And over time, it it wasn't just about feels, but this week it's about the feels.
Yes, very much.
So we've got an email, right?
Dude, we have an email, and I hope Wilburfish, you still listen to the show. We got your email. We've been saving it. We knew we were saving it for something. We just didn't know what it was.
We banked it, yeah.
Here it is. 200th episode. Couldn't be more appropriate. Such a great email. Titled, subject line, Curiosity on the Origins of the Dirt Fam. Keep in mind, we've had this email probably it's been at least 4 or 5 months at this point, maybe.
Yeah.
So, here you go. Hey, Arrow, Knight, and Cyborg. I would have normally opened this email saying, I hope you both had a good weekend playing some Trials, but that kind of dates it a little bit there, but still relevant. Anyway, I'm relatively new to the Dirt Fam, having joined up just in time for the release of Destiny 2, though I did start listening to the podcast a few months prior. Having come in relatively late to the party, I was curious as to how the Destiny Reset podcast and the Dirt Fam came about and started. This thinking led me to go all the way back and give the first ever episode a listen to try and see if this dropped any clues. However, this has actually led me to the second question I wanted to ask. Have your answers to the question, why do we play Destiny, changed since the release of the very first episode? Curious to hear your thoughts, and I look forward to the next installment. As always, take it easy and have a good one, guys. Adam, a.k.a. Wilburfish. Yes, thank you very much, Wilburfish. Sorry it took so long, but we knew we had a special place for this email. We hoped we did, and this is it. And yes, our first episode, if you didn't know, Guardians, was Destiny Reset. Episode 1, Why Do We Play Destiny? It seems so fitting now, dude.
Yeah.
It does. But man, this is so good. We'll start with the first question. Cyborg, how did we've talked about this a time or two. I mean, how did you and I get together and start this thing?
Yeah, so to keep it brief, we basically ran into each other on Reddit.
Yep.
Arrow had posted a thread on the Destiny the Game subreddit, and he was saying, "Hey, guys, I'm thinking about starting a Destiny podcast, and I want it to be kind of like this. What do you guys think? Would you listen? Got any feedback for me?" And it's funny because I had been thinking, not specifically about Destiny entirely, but I had been interested in podcasting for a while, and I was really into Destiny at this point. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to message this guy. And so I messaged Arrow, DM'd him on Reddit, and I was just like, hey, man, I saw your post, and I think it's a really cool idea. I just want to throw it out there. If you ever need somebody to come on, or you want some help with this thing, I'd love to do what you're doing. And we just started talking, and really
long emails later, a few weeks.
Yeah, we went back and forth for a month.
Got to know each other.
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
Getting to know each other, and decided just, hey, let's do this together. And I'm really fortunate. Arrow was really generous in sharing his baby and inviting somebody he didn't know,
of course,
to come in and try to do this with him.
You were such a nice guardian.
He is.
No, you were such a nice guardian. We just hit it off, man. We just hit it off. It just felt like we could do this together.
I think we got lucky, and and so we just kind of kicked it off, and we kept running with it, and here we are.
It was cool, man, because like you said, you'd been thinking about it, and you had some friends, and it was the same with me, which we'll hear here shortly from one of our friends. But it's it was just cool, man, and it just worked out, and we met each other, and dude, like you said, here we are, 200 episodes later. Who would have thought, dude? Who would have thought? The
other part that he asked was, so back in episode 1, our topic was, why do we play Destiny? And Wilburfish asks, have your answers to that question changed since the release of that episode? So, Arrow, you went back, and we listened to what our answers were then. Mm-hmm. So what about yourself? Has anything changed since then?
It's funny, yeah. One of my main answers is that what I loved the most about this game. And we launched this podcast. This was funny. We realized it. We went back and listened to the episode. Our first episode, I guess, right around there, the Taken King had been announced. which is
How
funny.
poignant.
Yeah, isn't it? Though it's too funny. And yeah,
200 episodes later.
We were a year into Destiny before we even started the show, but yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
4 years later, new content being announced. And at that time, I said one of the main things among many things, and also what you're going to touch. One of the answers you had was one I agreed with. My big thing too was that my character. What I loved about Destiny that so many other games. In other games, you had your like investment character on the PvE side of the game, and then when you went to do PvP or whatever, you had like a generic character, generic loadout. You picked this, whatever. You didn't have like the RPG or the leveling elements of your that side of the game. And in Destiny, it felt so cool, and you carried everything you did with you everywhere in the game, and it seemed such a big deal. 4 years ago. It seemed so cool. I loved it. I loved that it was my character no matter where I went in the game.
Yeah.
And I took everything with me. And that was my answer then. I got to say, I kind of forgot that was my answer. I do still appreciate that now after listening to it again, but now we're so used to it now.
Right.
But yeah, dude, now like, why do we play Destiny, man? I mean, it's, Before I answer why I play it now, tell us, we listened to your answer too. What did you say back in the day?
Yeah, so like I liked the gunplay. I know I talked about that a good bit. And I just liked how it was a shooter, an action shooter, and that was something that I enjoy playing, and I don't think that's changed at all. And then I talked about how I thought it was unique and like a benefit to Destiny that a lot of the activities that you needed to go into in the end game, it didn't have matchmaking, and how in the end that made you make friends and find friends. Mm-hmm. And I think that was really important to me then and still is, because I met a lot of my closest online friends through Destiny because I had to go find them. And if I had matchmaking, or even if the activities were different and didn't require that, I never would have met those people. Mm-hmm. And that was a big unique thing about Destiny, and still I think rings true. Yep.
Yeah. Passionate community. I mean, it's been that way since the beginning. It's very cool, man.
So why do you play Destiny now?
Man, it's crazy. I've thought about this. It's weird. I love to be able to invest into one game, and Destiny, it just is a great game for that. It really is, week in and week out. And I'll tell you another reason is like, and this is another reason, like we're at such similar points in lives, and we realized that when we met, kids and how old we are and where we're at. And it works really well for that, like the point I'm at in my life. I can play solo, I can play with friends, I can play for an hour, I can play for 5 hours, I can play for 2 days a week, I can still stay up to speed. It just, it works for where I'm at in my life right now. And it's just fun. It's like you said, it's just all the classic answers. The gunplay's there, the investment's there. I love these kind of games. Leaning even more into the RPG that it sounds like we're going to get. I like the RPG-ish elements that we have now. It's just, it works for me, man. This game just works for me. It hits the mark in many different ways. And again, a big piece for me is I love to be able to have a main game. I've only had a main game like this one other time, and it's the 200th episode. I have to mention SOCOM.
SOCOM.
There you go. Destiny is like my SOCOM now, and it's just fun, man. It really is. What about you, dude? Like, what is it? What is it now? Community is the big thing too, man. I mean, the Dirt Fam, playing with the Dirt Fam, like you said, just the whole community, seeing them get excited about things that really like adds just a passionate depth for everyone to the game, right? Anyways,
for sure.
What about you? Why now? Why do you play Destiny now, man?
I think along the lines of what you said, I'm heavily invested, and it's really comfortable for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's the kind of just this comforting feeling of like you feel like you're at home when you play Destiny, because I've played it for so long. Like it's just kind of my home base for games. And now, like when I play other games, I'm kind of going off the reservation, that I can come back to Destiny and, tap into all the activities and the guns and the things I know I like. And I know I can, it's predictable in a sense, even though there's still new fun to be had. I know to an extent what I'm getting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my friends are there. I play games and I play Destiny to enjoy them with friends. And that's a huge part of it for me. Gives me like the social interaction that I like, and the challenges that I like that I can tackle with friends. The community is unreal. I mean, the Destiny community is world class, and there's none like it. I mean, a lot of people say that about games, but it's really true with Destiny. So I think, it hasn't changed tremendously. I think the reason I play Destiny has just grown,
Yeah, exactly.
Grown from where it was 4 years ago when we talked about it.
Same.
But great question.
Yeah, this was so good, man.
Thanks for sending us that email.
I think it'd be fun. We'll throw this to you listeners. Why do you play Destiny then and now? Even if just now, if you haven't been playing for very long, you have to email or tweet us at Destiny Reset or Destiny Reset Podcast at gmail.com. Be very interesting to hear answers from other Guardians.
Yeah,
why you
absolutely.
play Destiny.
Let us know why you're still playing.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we've got an email from Mitch Slap, formerly known as the Beard MB, member of our community, titled Episode 200. He says, "Dear Arrow and Cyborg, I can't thank you both enough for the community that you've created over the last 4 years. I started playing Destiny with college friends, and they all started to go their separate ways. When I bought D2, I played with 1 or 2 people, but never really had a group to play with. I found Destiny Reset in the middle of Curse of Osiris, and this community helped keep me active with the game when it was, let's say, bland. I'm glad I stuck it out, because Destiny 2 is currently my favorite gaming experience, and I have you both and this community to thank for that. Countless hours with the raid team, a raid team that somehow puts up with my weird humor and mediocre gameplay. I wouldn't trade these friends for the world. Love you guys, love the show. Mitch Slap. P.S. Cross save, baby."
Thanks, Beard or Mitch Slap.
Yeah, man.
I'm trying to.
Thanks for the email.
Yeah, that's great, dude. Really nice.
Really lucky to have you in our community. You're a great guy.
A leader in the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. I appreciate that. Appreciate the kind words always.
We do.
And cross save, yes, baby.
Yes.
Finally, is Beard in your fire team or no?
He is in the raid group.
I thought so. So see, that's exciting. I'll get to jump over and play with.
Yeah,
I guess formerly known as, I'll get to play with Mitch Slap.
Yeah.
Yes.
He plays some on PC too. We'll all play on PC too.
Yes. It's exciting.
Yep.
Well,
next up,
it wouldn't be a 200th episode if we didn't have some speak pipes.
That's right.
Got a speak pipe from a friend. Actually met this Guardian at the summit, and he lives just a couple hours from me, but always providing feedback each episode to us on Twitter. We really appreciate it. This is our friend Lost Souls. Let's take a listen.
What is up, Arrow and Cyborg? It is Lost Souls here. Just wanted to congratulate both of you on 200 episodes of the Destiny Reset podcast. That is an incredible achievement as someone who hosted a podcast for quite a bit of time. To see you 4 years in still doing it, it's incredibly impressive, and you guys are amazing at what you do. I have not been listening for 4 years, but I have for over the last year now, and just really enjoy listening to you gentlemen every week talk about the game when I've played a lot, and even currently when I'm not playing. you still keep me invested in the game as well as up to speed on what's going on. So look forward to however many more you have in you for as long as you want to keep providing this awesome service to the community. Have a great day.
Souls, thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate you sticking with us. And we love hearing your feedback, what you think about things every week. And you've got your own podcast pedigree, so you know what it takes to do what we do. And we're thankful that you keep on listening.
Yes, definitely. It's almost come to the point where we expect some feedback, a tweet from you about something we talked about. We love it.
Yeah.
We love it. So yeah, it's really nice of you to send the speak pipe. It was great meeting you. Of course, at some point we might have to get some lunch or something, but thank you so much. Very, very much appreciate it. So this next one, dude, I mentioned a friend earlier. This next Guardian, some of you have been listening for a long time, been in the community for a long time. We're going to be shocked what we were able to accomplish here. Cyborg. This was Cyborg's idea, and I had to work on this for a little bit.
I'm glad you did.
Playing some Destiny. My friend I mentioned, his name is Terry. I play a lot of Destiny with him, a lot of Trials back in the day, and a lot of Crucible. Excellent Crucible player. He's been around. OG. He's a founder, and he actually originally was possibly a third co-host. I think Cyborg's told this story before, but he preferred to be more of a guest appearance type of Guardian.
Yeah.
But long story short, we finally got him to send in his speak pipe. So I'll quit talking and let's take a listen to Dirt Fam friend, our friend Terry Bear.
Hey guys, long-time listener, first-time caller. You might know me as Terry from DRP on Twitter, which I use every 4 years, if we're being generous. Yeah, I just wanted to wish you guys a fantastic 200th episode. It's kind of crazy to think that something that started off as a tiny clan of Arrow, his real-life friends, a cousin or two, and then like the token Canadian from Reddit. Still no idea how that happened, but yeah. And my friends, sadly, have Arrow to thank for me even using a mic in the first place. I remember him goading me into using the mic, and eventually musings of talking about making a podcast together ended up into the crazy, amazing community we have now. But yeah, I think it's well overdue to revive the speak pipe I murdered in cold blood many moons ago. So I nominate Big Daddy Davis himself. And here's to another 200 episodes. Because if you love Destiny as much as we do, blah, 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 blah. And hey, maybe next time I'll sneak into the production booth in a more tangible form than SpeakPipe. Have a good one, boys.
Tear Bear, you're about 100 episodes late on your challenge, but I'm glad you're finally coming through. If you're not familiar, we had this thing going for like 20 episodes called the SpeakPipe Challenge, and every time a listener left a SpeakPipe with a message, they had to challenge another community member to do it next. And at a certain point, Terry got nominated and he let it die. But it's coming back, so he's nominated another community member, Davis, to pick it up. Man, thanks for sending in something, Terry. You know, we got to get you back on the show at some point. Come and talk with us. It's been a long time.
It has, man. I think like the first 10 episodes he was on an episode. It's been a good while.
Yeah. Been a while.
Very cool. Thank you, Terry Bear, for finally sending in that speak pipe. A lot of happy Guardians now.
Took him long enough.
Too funny. Oh, well, all right, real quick. It wouldn't be an episode like this without an Arrow Twitter poll. I already kind of mentioned one, but this one's for the 200th episode. I had to tweet out.
Yes.
Guardians, which word do you think Cyborg and I say the most on the show? Here are your options.
What are they?
All non-Destiny related.
Yeah.
Like, dude, or man. And you probably already know the
Some
answer
good
because
ones.
you've been listening to this for almost 2 hours, and we've probably said it already 100 times. 58% of you think we say dude the most.
We probably do.
I think
Probably
we do, dude. Oop, I think we do.
Somebody pointed out for a while it might have been something different, but it's slowly over time, dude has been the word of choice.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure I say dude and man a lot, and everyone's probably nodding their head now. But that it's we've gotten pretty smooth flow over 200 episodes, but the likes still make it in there, and the dudes and the ums, it's
how
part of
people
it.
talk, man. We're not like
Just party chat.
professional, whatever you want to call us, commentators. We're
And we
just
don't
a couple
try to be.
guys.
Yeah, exactly.
We try to make this show, easy to listen to and sound good, but we're just gonna talk how we talk.
Exactly. We're the
Deal
real
with
deal.
it.
We keep it real.
That's right.
Yeah, dude. So
Great poll,
wow.
man.
Yeah.
I love your Twitter polls. I'm always
Thanks.
excited to see a new poll up. We're like, ooh, what's he finding out?
What is
now?
this one? Oh boy. He
What's
thinks
that boy up to now
people
this
are
week?
interested in these. Yeah, man. So, of course, Cyborg and I got to say thanks to everybody. We could go on forever, but a lot has happened in 4 years, and we have all of you to thank for it. And it's been unbelievable, dude. 200 episodes. It's crazy.
200 episodes have been a blast to do.
Mm-hmm. Very much
a lot of fun. People support us and help us stay motivated to keep doing this.
Mhm. Yep.
Not that we wouldn't want to make the show, but it makes you feel good when people are like, hey, I love the show, and
It does.
you know
man.
that there's
Yep.
people there that want you to do it.
Thank the community. Thank fellow content creators. We've had many on the show. Thank the Bungie team. It's like there's just so many pieces to it that make it all work. And of course you, man. Thank you. Like it's a blast to talk to you about Destiny. It's going to be even more of a blast, and like we've already mentioned, in the fall when we can actually play together again.
Man.
Hopefully it doesn't
be
mix up
amazing.
the show like we've talked about, because we don't talk in party chat, so we have a lot to talk about when we get to the
Right.
show recording.
We'll try to
So-
keep it limited so we don't
Yeah.
ruin the show.
Keep it limited to encounter talk, not deets.
Yeah. But thank
yeah,
you to
man.
everyone that supports us, and thank you for everyone that's helped us, be better at what we do, and all the guests that have come on the show over the past 4 years that give us their time and are willing to come on our show and communicate with our community members and just be part of our community. They're awesome. There's a lot of people who have influenced us, but we realized like we would have to make like a 30-minute block just to thank everybody.
For sure.
So.
Yeah. More than anything, thank you to the community, right? Thank you to
Yeah.
everybody that supported us, just all together. Thanks to the Derp fam, of course.
Absolutely.
It's crazy, man. I said it in a tweet the other day, I think in reply to maybe DMG. You've already said it this episode, I think, man, there's something special about this game and this community. There really is. I am thrilled to be a part of it. I know you are too, everybody. And you can just feel it, man. Like it's a special thing. We're going to remember these times forever. I've tweeted that out too. Like we're going to be remembering this when we're 70 years old. Like, dude, that was some fun times.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Very much so, I think.
We're making a lot of memories.
Definitely.
A lot of memories. And I hope, this show goes on for as long as people will listen, as long as
Right.
Destiny is still a thing.
It seems promising. The future
We'll try
looks
to keep these things going.
great. So, yeah, man.
All right, man.
Speaking of,
Fun show this week.
thanks for the support. But some
We've
Dirt Fan
got some
patrons.
Dirt Fan patrons, huh?
We do. We got some messages back finally. You want to give these
Nice.
Guardians a shout out?
Yeah, we've got Guardian Born and Barbaric Yop.
There
I
you
think
go.
is how it's pronounced.
Yes.
A couple new patrons who are helping support us. If you don't know what a patron is, go to patreon.com/Destiny Reset, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the production budget of our show. If you do that, you get a few perks. You get a invite to a Discord channel just for their fan patrons and supporters. You get a shout out right here, and you get your gamer tag posted on our website as a supporter of the show. So, yeah, go check it out. If you are a patron and you haven't heard your shout out, contact us or check your Patreon messages, because we want to shout out your gamer tag, not your first and last name, because that may not be appropriate.
Even if it looks like your gamer tag, we message right away just to make sure.
Yeah, we want to be sure. So that is our patrons this month, or this episode rather. I think we need to tell people where they can find us, and then we're out of here, man.
I think so, dude. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and YouTube at AER0KNIGHT with a 0. What about you, man?
Perfect. You can find me at CyborgSasquatch on Twitter, and you can find us at Destiny Reset on Twitter or on the web, www.destinyresetpodcast.com. That's your source for all things DRP, including links to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app of choice. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please go leave us a review. We've got some new reviews this week. Who do we have a shout out to?
Element 56 from the US.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna tackle the second one? I always like to do.
I'm gonna go Chug 22.
It's Canada. I mean, it's Canada, full of a bunch of nice peeps. Cade's Ace from the US.
Oh,
Thank
that
you,
breaks my heart.
I know.
Oof, the feels on that one.
Painful.
I get the reference. All three of these Guardians left us a review on Apple Podcasts. We had to give them a shout out. Thanks so much for your review. It gives us help, or it helps us get seen and heard by more listeners just like you. And if you're on Apple Podcasts and you haven't left us a review, please do. We're almost to 300 reviews.
296.
Man, right there.
See if we can hit it during the reset of our 200th episode.
And as I said, when we hit 300, I would do some fun stuff on the show. Maybe some impressions would return, but can't do it this week. Because you guys let me down.
Come on, Guardians. Four more.
Come on, next week you can do it. And then I'll
make
do
4
it.
accounts. No,
I'll be true to my word.
Cyborg, I don't know why it's become a thing. Are you going to play some Destiny tonight?
You know, buddy, I sure am.
It's 3 a.m. Just so everyone knows, it's our 200th episode. It seems fitting. This is probably the latest we've been recording. Usually it's 2 or so, but it's 3 a.m.
Yeah, we're up late this week.
I think I'm going to go to bed, but you got raid prep to do. You can't go to bed.
I've got to finish getting ready for tomorrow.
All right, dude. Well, excellent 200th episode, sir.
Yeah, man. Glad I can be here.
Oh, of course. You wouldn't be anywhere else.
Nope.
You know it. Until next reset, have fun playing Destiny 2, and take care, Guardians.